When real women tell real stories, the world listens. And that's exactly why this book became a #1 international bestseller. Voices of the 21st Century, Unstoppable Women Standing Strong, celebrates the courage, the truth, and the resilience of women who have chosen to stand strong through real moments in life. Hi, my name is Gail Watson. I'm founder and CEO of Women Speakers Association, and today I'm honored to welcome into our conversation co-author Karen Anderson. This is your chance to connect with the heart of her story and the voice she brings to this powerful collection. Welcome, Karen.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Gail.
Hi. Uh, I have been looking forward to this conversation for a while because you share a powerful voice for those trapped in domestic violence. And what I really like about your story is you're right into the solutions and the guiding on it with, how to identify it and what to do next. So let's just talk a little bit about, in a few sentences, what you've shared and what inspired you to share this.
I think so the chapter is called "It Always Starts with a Whisper," and I think that if you reflect back on if you are someone who's experienced domestic violence and you tell someone for the first time, you're never quite sure what the reaction is going to be, and so it is whispered. And certainly my involvement with Women Speakers Association and also with the being a co-author of Voices of the 21st Century, it actually started with a whisper where I actually shared that I was a victim survivor of domestic violence. I had successfully got out and rebuilt my life, and I was just wondering if those experiences might be something that other women would benefit from. And it was, if you reflect back, Gail, that was such a tiny little whisper. And like I had this concrete wall up of, I'm fine and blah, blah, blah. And then I went, oh, but here's a little whisper. And it is how we take those little whispers that actually changes the volume and the communication for somebody else. And in the world of domestic violence, it really is being open to that first little sharing. And it's such a courageous step, but that first sharing of, I'm in an abusive relationship. Yeah.
It's been phenomenal to be able to walk alongside you in this journey of finding your voice. And I mean, you have shared your story over, 3 different books. And so I don't want to give for you, it hasn't been easy. It took a lot of courage. And just to see you today, oh my goodness, and what you've accomplished. So this is what I really want to share about. So let's talk about when we look back on that time and what did standing strong look like that time? But how does it look to you today?
So if we go back to in the beginning, and this is the same for anybody who is in an abusive relationship or who has recently escaped an abusive relationship, um, you have the strength. And like it's this determination and this strength of that actually gets you out of there and then keeps you going because it will be tough. Like I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It will be tough. And what I share in this book is a moment that really changed my life, where I really was standing strong. And that is a moment when I realized that I had left my abuser, I had started to rebuild my life, but the lessons that he had taught me about fear and being timid were still in my head and they were influencing my actions. And I just went, this isn't going to happen. I haven't left him and gone through all of this for nothing. And so that was the moment when, when I think back, I stood strong. I faced my fear. It wasn't a big fear, but it was my big fear. And nothing happened. And it was the turning point. It was a big turning point in my recovery. And I wanted other people who are living in that battle zone, whether they're in the abusive relationship or whether they're, trying to escape and rebuild their lives, that you can stand strong. And it starts with sharing what you're going through and getting help from your family and friends. And of course, since that first whisper to you, I've started a charity that now helps people or women plan and implement a sustainable escape from abuse.
And let's talk about that because that's very, very exciting. Share more.
Yeah, so it's called Escape to Better Foundation, and it is very much based on lived experience because nobody talks about it. I didn't talk about it for 20 years, so like there's no judgment there. We don't want to talk about it. We just want to get through it and rebuild our lives. But there are lessons that I learnt about how to escape safely that I really felt could be beneficial to other women. So we don't have to keep reinventing the wheel and learning from mistakes. Learn from my mistakes, and my successes, and help you get out of that relationship. So Escape to Better Foundation started with that, and because we talk about things like your fears and your challenges and your successes, and turning points, we are actually appropriate for any woman anywhere in the world. And there will be, cultural differences and educational differences and opportunity differences and legal differences. But the basics of making the decision to leave, understanding why you're leaving, and then implementing that escape, that is universal.
Okay, and I'd love for everyone listening right now to really listen up because the this story maybe it doesn't relate to you, but I can assure you probably know somebody that it does. And Karen, what you've done where there's supposed to be your picture as the author sharing the story and about you have put a QR code. Talk about that.
So the QR code will take you directly to our resources page where you will find all sorts of things to help you decide whether you want to stay or leave, and then how you plan your escape, and all sorts of things to help you rebuild your life. And it started on, now I need to speak international here because in Australia we will say they're toilet door posters, but internationally and in North America we will say that they are, is that stalls? So they're on public bathroom stalls. And it is posters with a QR code, this same QR code that takes women directly to our resources page. And what we are finding is with every unique scan of the QR code, we receive 5.9 return visits. And so that tells us that we are providing information that is useful and helpful. And so that's why I wanted it in the book, because now we can go to anybody else in the world through this book. But the other great thing is that if you know someone who's in an abusive relationship or you suspect might be in an abusive relationship, you can gift them this book. You can say, oh, look, I've marked a couple of chapters that I thought may be of interest. Include our chapter as one, or my chapter as one of them. And you are handing them resources to help them get out of the abuse. And that is the most awesome thing ever. And that was your idea, Gail. I need to actually give credit to you because it was your idea.
It is your resources that are changing lives, Karen. And it's something that was never done before. It's, in traditional production of a book. And I'm so glad. And it was your words that said the power of that is to be able to just hand a book over
Yeah.
because it is silence. Or before the whispers is the silence.
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
And I guess the
So
other thing I've missed out on is that all of our resources are completely available online. So you don't have to talk to anyone to get help. The help is just there on a website. You choose what you want when you want it, and you can keep going back, and there is no questions asked. We never know who you are. Everything is completely anonymous. And there are, as far as I know, there are no other resources anywhere in the world that actually do that for people.
Incredible. You are from first sharing your story 3 years ago to where you are today. I know this is your full-time life purpose, your
Yes.
passion. You've really stepped into it. You've really claimed the power of who you are. So, okay, we need to get I'm going to rephrase this. We need copies of your book. We need to buy one for ourselves, but we need to buy about 20 to keep around our place, to keep one in the car, keep one at our place of employment, to be able to hand this book out, to get people connected to these free resources. So, Karen, where can we get a copy of your book?
So, first of all proceeds from the sale of the book go to help fund the work of Escape to Better Foundation. So, you're not just helping the people you know or yourself, you're also helping us to help others. So, you can get it on our website, and the website is escapetobetter.org.
Okay, escapetobetter.org. Karen, thank you so much. You're changing the lives of people all around the world. And it started with that first brave moment. I'll always remember that conversation when you shared your story, which was hard.
It
Uh,
was. It was. And it was like
yes.
20 years down the track, and it was
Yeah.
still hard. Yeah.
Yeah. That's phenomenal. And look at where you are today. How are you feeling when
I
you,
am feeling astounded. I think I spend my days feeling astounded because had you ever, prior to that conversation with you and Bridget Stills, had anyone ever said, "Oh, Karen, would you talk about your experiences as a survivor of domestic violence?" I went, "No, don't be stupid. No one wants to hear from me." And then to actually go from that little concept of talking about it to actually building a charity and actually disrupting the way domestic violence support services are
mm,
normally provided and focusing on an area that is like pre-crisis, so early intervention, which nobody does as far as I can find anywhere in the world. We all wait until they're in crisis and then they're in a queue. So to have done all of that and for people to have actually embraced this idea, like this crazy woman with a with a mad idea, an audacious plan, I mean that's just astounding.
ah, I'm I'm so proud of you that you stepped into your power and
Thank you.
you mustered up the courage to share that first story, and your resilience to keep going, guided by your passion and your purpose on this planet. You thank you for sharing your heart so much. Just before we wrap up here, Karen, is there anything you'd like to leave our listeners with today?
I would. And I think it is the power of a whisper. And it doesn't really matter whether it's an audacious goal, or a wild idea, like, Escape to Better Foundation started with, or if it is for the first time telling somebody that you're in an abusive relationship and you might need some help. I mean, whispers are powerful. And I do encourage everyone to think about if somebody came up to you, someone you know and care about, and said, "My partner is abusing me," what would you say? And we actually have resources on our website that actually talks about a guide for family and friends. But think about what you might say because you will be in shock. So you need to kind of go back to that because I've been on both sides. I've been the one who was doing the first whisper and the one who received the first whisper.
Ooh, that's powerful stuff there. Thank you again, Karen, you're doing amazing work in this world and making it very easy for us to be able to share with people who that we may suspect or that we know are in abusive relationships. That QR code is fantastic, giving just such easy access.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. And I encourage everyone listening right now, please, please, please go grab many, many copies, distribute them. This is more than just a book to read. This is a tool to help somebody else. So please reach out to Karen through her website. Again, Karen, the website is
escapetobetter.org.
escapetobetter.org. You'll be helping someone. Thanks again for your time and listening to today's conversation. And we would like to wish you, wherever you are in this world, an amazing day. Thank you for joining us.